Elena walks into the airport with a small bag over her shoulder. She has decided to travel alone for the first time in years. She wants a break from work, from noise, and from everyday worries. She hopes to find peace in a new place. The airport is bright and busy. People move quickly in all directions. Some carry heavy suitcases, others hold coffee cups. There are loud announcements over the speakers. Despite the noise, Elena feels calm. She reminds herself to breathe slowly. In, out, in, out. Each breath makes her feel more steady. Elena checks her ticket and passport. She smiles at the gate agent when she hands over her documents. The agent says, "Have a nice trip." And Elena replies, "Thank you." She speaks slowly and clearly. She practices saying simple sentences in English, like, "I am traveling alone, and I need help with my bag." This practice makes her more confident. She finds her seat by the window. Outside, she sees planes parked on the tarmac. A small plane taxis past a large jet. Elena watches as a ladder moves toward another aircraft. She imagines the view from high above the clouds. In her mind, she sees herself floating gently over mountains and rivers. When the plane begins to move, Elena feels a thrill in her chest. The engines roar softly. The cabin lights dim. A flight attendant offers her water and she says, "Yes, please." She sips slowly and looks out the window. The ground fades away as the plane lifts into the sky. During the flight, Elena practices more English phrases. She repeats each phrase under her breath. "Where is the restroom? Can I have a blanket? Thank you for your help." She listens to the flight attendant's answers and nods. Speaking and listening help her relax. After a few hours, the plane begins to descend. Elena feels a gentle drop in her stomach. She watches fields and towns appear below. She breathes in deeply. Her heart fills with excitement and a bit of nervousness. She reminds herself, "This is my journey. I am safe." The plane lands smoothly. Elena unfastens her seatbelt and stands. She follows the signs to baggage claim. Bright lights guide her path. She hears voices in different languages. She smiles, knowing that this trip will help her learn and grow. Outside the airport doors, warm air greets her. She sees a sign that says, "Welcome to Marba." Elena steps into a taxi and feels the city's rhythm around her. Cars honk gently, and pedestrians walk on wide sidewalks. Colorful buildings pass by her window. As the taxi drives toward her hotel, Elena thinks of her plan. She will rest first, then explore small streets, try local food, and maybe write in her journal each evening. She feels proud of herself for taking this trip alone. She knows that traveling by herself will teach her not only new words, but also new ways to feel strong and free. Elena arrives at her hotel just before sunset. Soft light fills the lobby. She hands her passport to the receptionist and listens to the gentle hum of the air conditioner. When the receptionist smiles and says, "Enjoy your stay," Elena answers, "Thank you very much." Up in her room, Elena places her bag on the bed. She opens her journal and writes a few lines. "I arrived safely. I feel calm and excited. This place is beautiful. I am ready to learn and to rest." She closes her notebook and looks out the window at a glowing horizon. In that quiet moment, Elena understands why she came here alone. She chose peace over stress, new sights over old routines, and her own company over familiar voices. She whispers to herself, "This is a new beginning." And she smiles, ready for whatever tomorrow will bring. Elena woke up early the next morning and felt curious about the new city. She had a gentle breakfast in the hotel lobby. The air smelled of fresh bread and warm coffee. As she reached for her cup, a friendly voice asked, "First time in Marba?" Elena turned and saw a man standing nearby. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile. He wore a light jacket and carried a small suitcase. Elena replied, "Yes, I am here to rest and explore." The man introduced himself as Daniel. He said he had a business trip in the same city. Elena felt surprised but pleased. She practiced in her mind the simple phrase, "Nice to meet you, Daniel." She spoke it softly. Daniel nodded and said, "Nice to meet you, too." The sound of their words was clear and kind. Elena thought, "This chance meeting is interesting." After breakfast, Elena checked into her room and unpacked. She placed her journal on the desk and wrote, "I met Daniel today. He is friendly and polite." Writing helped her remember new words. She added a note, "Small talk, casual conversation between strangers." She looked up the meaning in her mind and said, "Small talk can help me practice English." Later, Elena decided to walk in the hotel garden. Bright flowers bloomed along a winding path. She felt calm as she listened to birds singing. Daniel appeared again, carrying 2 cups of tea. He smiled and offered one to her. Elena accepted and said, "Thank you very much." She sipped slowly and felt the warm tea calm her nerves. They walked together under shaded trees. Daniel pointed out a bright pink flower and said, "This is a bougainvillea flower." Elena repeated the word, "Bougainvillea." She felt proud she could say it. Daniel explained, "In Marba, these flowers grow everywhere." Elena nodded and said, "They are beautiful." As they walked, Daniel asked, "Would you like to see the old quarter of town?" Elena felt excited by the idea. She replied, "Yes, I would like that." Daniel led the way through narrow streets. Colorful buildings lined the sidewalks. People sold fresh fruit and handmade crafts. Elena listened to Daniel's simple descriptions. "This street is over 100 years old, and that church has tall towers." Elena asked questions to practice her English. She said, "What does quarter mean?" Daniel answered, "Quarter means a part of the city." Elena repeated, "A quarter of the city." She smiled at Daniel. He said, "You speak well." Elena felt more confident. She thought, "Simple questions help me learn." After exploring the old quarter, Daniel suggested coffee at a small cafe. They sat at a wooden table near the window. Sunlight fell on stacks of pastries. Elena chose a warm chocolate croissant. Daniel ordered a black coffee. Elena practiced ordering. "Can I have a chocolate croissant, please?" The barista nodded and smiled. Elena felt happy to use her English. Over coffee, they talked about their lives. Daniel spoke slowly and clearly. He said, "I travel often for work, but I love learning about new cultures." Elena replied, "I travel to find peace and to learn." She used a phrase she had practiced. "I love learning." Daniel listened and nodded. He asked, "What do you like to learn?" Elena smiled and said, "I like to learn languages and history." Daniel and Elena shared stories about their hometowns. Daniel described the busy city where he lived. Elena described her quiet town. She said, "My town is small, with green fields and no tall buildings." Daniel listened with interest. He said, "That sounds peaceful." Elena felt proud of her description. She thought, Using simple words can show clear ideas. Before they parted, Daniel said, I have one more question. Would you like to join me for dinner tomorrow evening? Elena paused and thought of her plan. She had a free evening and wanted to learn more English. She said, Yes, thank you. I would like that. Daniel smiled and said, Great. I will see you at 7. Elena said, See you at 7. Back in her room, Elena wrote in her journal, Daniel and I had tea and coffee. We practiced English together. He is patient and kind. She added another note. Coincidence. A surprising event that happens by chance. She reviewed the word in her mind and said, This meeting was a coincidence. That night, Elena lay in bed and thought about her day. She remembered the new words she had learned. Small talk, bougainvillea, quarter, coincidence. She said each word softly before sleep. She felt a gentle excitement mixed with peace. Tomorrow would bring dinner with Daniel and more chances to practice English. Elena closed her eyes and whispered, Thank you for today. She felt grateful for the friendly stranger who had become her conversation partner. She looked forward to discovering more of the city and more of her own ability to speak English. With that thought, she drifted into a calm sleep, ready for another day of curiosity and connection. Daniel and Elena sat at a small table by the sea. Lanterns glowed softly above them, and the sound of waves mixed with gentle music. Daniel spoke in a calm voice. He said, I have a wife, but we live apart. Elena felt her heart tighten. She asked, Why do you not live together? Daniel looked down and answered, For my daughter's sake. We care for her, but our hearts are distant. Elena nodded slowly. She used simple words. I understand. After dinner, Daniel walked Elena back to her hotel. He held her hand lightly and said, I feel alive when I am with you. Elena felt both warm and sad. She thought, this kindness may not be enough. In her mind, she repeated the word compassion and then betrayal. She wondered if she could trust him. The next morning, Elena woke early and decided to explore the city alone. As she walked through quiet streets, she remembered Daniel's words. She asked herself, is this real love, or just a comforting story? She practiced a question in English. What do I feel? She answered softly. I feel confused. Later that day, Elena saw Daniel with another woman. They laughed and walked close together. Elena's chest tightened. She felt a sharp pain of betrayal. She asked herself in simple English, is he honest? She watched them for a moment and then turned away. Her steps felt heavy as she walked back to her hotel. In her room, Elena opened her journal. She wrote, I saw him with someone else. I feel hurt. She closed the notebook and took a deep breath. She used the word disillusionment. She whispered, disillusionment. The feeling was clear. The gentle dream had broken. That evening, Daniel came to her door. He knocked softly and said, Elena, I am sorry you saw that. Elena opened the door and looked at him. Her voice was calm but firm. I saw you with her. You said you felt alone with your wife, Daniel explained. We acted for our daughter. She visits unexpectedly. Elena asked, Then why did you not tell me? He paused and said, I did not want to hurt you. Elena's mind raced. She thought of the word truth. She said, Truth matters more than comfort. Daniel looked away. He did not answer. Elena turned and walked into the hallway. She took a deep breath and thought, I choose peace. I choose the truth. The next morning, Elena packed her bags. She placed her journal and her favorite pen on top. On the bed, there was a note from Daniel. It read, Elena, I am sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I am still learning. Elena read the note twice. She felt both sadness and relief. She practiced the word forgiveness. She said, I forgive myself for trusting too quickly. At the airport, Daniel appeared one last time. He stood at a distance and waved. Elena took one step forward. She looked at him and said quietly, Goodbye, Daniel. I wish you well. She turned and walked away. As she passed the security check, she whispered, I choose myself. On the plane, Elena closed her eyes and thought about her journey. She spoke softly to herself. Real love is honest. Real love is not hidden. She felt a warm sense of strength. She opened her journal and wrote a final line. I learned to trust my heart and to speak my truth. As the plane flew above the clouds, Elena felt calm. She remembered the new words she had learned: betrayal, disillusionment, forgiveness, truth, peace. She smiled and repeated them softly. She thought, I am enough. I deserve respect and honesty. When the plane landed, Elena stepped into her city with a new sense of purpose. She knew her journey had taught her more than English words. It had taught her to value herself and her feelings. She walked out of the airport and said, I am ready for my next chapter. Elena's journey began with a simple decision: to travel alone and find a few days of calm away from work and noise. She stepped into the airport with a small bag and a clear heart. Her flight to Marba carried her over clouds and into new possibilities. In those first hours, Elena practiced basic English phrases. She learned to ask for water, a blanket, and directions. Each simple sentence helped her feel more confident and ready for the days ahead. In Marba, Elena met Daniel in the hotel lobby. He had kind eyes and polite manners. Their first conversation was small talk about the city and the weather. Elena repeated words like coffee, garden, and quarter under her breath. Walking through bright streets and sipping tea together, they talked slowly and clearly. Elena felt a warm connection and practiced her English all the while. She felt excited, but also safe. Soon, Daniel shared that he had a wife and a daughter. He explained that his family life felt distant and sad. Elena used words like compassion and betrayal to name her feelings. She asked gentle questions and spoke honestly about what she felt. Through this, she learned new words for complex emotions. One afternoon, Elena saw Daniel with his wife. The sight broke her trust, and she felt pain. In her quiet hotel room, she wrote in her journal about disillusionment and truth. When Daniel knocked on her door that evening, Elena spoke clearly. Truth is more important than comfort. She chose to leave. She packed her bag, wrote forgiveness in her journal, and said goodbye to Daniel at the airport. Her final words to him were calm and kind. I wish you well. On the plane home, Elena looked at the clouds and thought about what she learned. She practiced new words one more time: betrayal, forgiveness, peace, self-respect. She closed her journal with a smile. She knew this trip taught her more than English. It taught her to value honesty, to trust her own feelings, and to choose respect over comfort. Real love and real friendship need honesty. If someone hides the truth, they cannot give you true care in your own life. Practice speaking honestly and listening with respect. Choose kindness, but never at the cost of your self respect. When you face a hard choice, ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Congratulations! You have listened to Elena's full story and improved your English listening and understanding. Now, let us test your memory. What word did Elena write in her journal when she felt hurt? A. Disillusionment. B. Excitement. Comment A or B below. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe to our channel for more inspiring English listening practice. Your support gives us the motivation to create free, high-quality content. If you can, please consider donating so we can continue helping you learn English. Thank you for learning with us.